And I have tried to make a video on numerous occasions, and then for some reason I talked myself out of doing it. And I've decided that this is the year that I don't do that. So here we are. I recently watched Larryreads video, and it was the beginning of the year questions. And I thought that that was a good place to start. We're going to pretend that it's not February. Okay. I think I took out a couple questions because they just didn't really apply to my reading and how my year may look. So I will try and throw those in there if I remember to, but we're just going to go through the list, okay? Okay. So the first question was, how many books do you plan to read in 2025? Now, I do this thing where every year I only move my Goodreads goal up by like 5 books. And I believe the last 2 years I have heavily surpassed that number. So this year, same fashion as the previous years. So 45 books is my goal for the year. Now, if I surpass that again, wonderful, great. Do I think I'm going to surpass that? Probably. If I don't, that's okay. 45 is still a solid number of books. A little foreshadowing, I read 13 books in January. So we're doing really good. We're doing good so far. We're not going to talk about February. So yeah, 45 feels like a pretty solid number. And next year, that number will probably be 50 because 5 books every year. The second question is a book you are likely to reread. Now, there are a lot of books I would like to reread. For starters, I have been telling myself for a long time to reread Anxious People by Frederick Backman. And we're going to do that this year. One way or another, we're going to do it. We're going to reread Anxious People. I absolutely loved that book the first time I read it, and that is the only time I read it. So it is long overdue for a reread. After that, I would love to reread ACOTAR, the whole bunch there. I read all 5 of those books in 5 days. So I think this time I would really like to kind of go a little slower, because for me, somebody will mention a part of those books and like they're all one big book in my head because I just didn't stop reading them. So it's hard to decipher what came from like A Court of Thorns and Roses and each individual book. They're all just one giant collection of books. I also annotated every book except A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it's time to fix that. So if I do a reread, we can annotate book 1. That would be a great thing to do. Another one that I would really like to reread is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I absolutely loved that book, and I will be patiently awaiting book 2. Whether that comes this year or 5 years from now, I will be as happy as I am about The Year of the Witching for book 2, whenever that is. I know that we got a little update about that not that long ago. I was so excited, but I will be waiting. Whenever Alexis Henderson is ready to give us book 2, I will be first in line. Period. Third question is priority reads of 2025 TBR. What are your priority reads? So I would like to read something by Kristen Hanna, probably The Nightingale. I also have The Women. I've heard so many good things about all of her books. I think The Nightingale is probably like really high up on my list, but at the same time, The Women I have had on hold on Libby, and I just keep deliver later. So like that one is like right there and ready to go, kind of. So those are definitely priorities for this year because I have not read any Kristen Hanna. So if you have any opinions on where I should start, you should totally leave that in the comments for me. And If We Were Villains. I have the normal copy right here, but I also have the really, really pretty copy from Barnes & Noble. Tell me she's not beautiful. I mean, like, this one's solid. Black and white is solid, but, like, excuse me. I have wanted to read this for a very long time, and for some reason I keep putting it off, and I don't really know why. So it's time that we read it. And another one which I just knocked off my bookshelf that wasn't on my list, but I would like to read, is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I have been wanting to read that for probably the last year at least, and I just keep putting it off also. That's another one that I would really like to read. Fourth question, an author that you won't read from anymore. I have 3. Now, I wouldn't say that these are because of books I read last year necessarily, but these are just 3 authors that I know are not going to work for me. Lucy Foley is definitely on that list. I read The Paris Apartment at some point. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before that. And that book just bothered me. I think that there's something to be said for writing a mystery thriller that feels realistic, even if you want to kind of go outside the box. And for me, The Paris Apartment just felt very unrealistic. The twists were so far-fetched and wild to me that I just found myself being like, there's no way that you fell for that, or that you whatever. So that's definitely number 1. Ruth Ware is another one, which I think might be one of the controversial ones. I have read 3 books by Ruth Ware, and one of them was a Book of the Month book, but I don't know where it is. And I just feel like her books could be half the length that they are and accomplish the same thing. So I don't find that I enjoy my time reading them. It feels repetitive. It feels like it could use some more editing. It feels like they are just much longer than they need to be. And that's not the vibe that I'm going for. So Ruth Ware, I'm sorry, but we're going to be done. I don't think I read a Ruth Ware last year either. And the last one on my list is Catriona Ward, and she wrote this book, Looking Glass Sound. I read that at the very, very, very end. I think it was the last book that I read in December of 23. I cannot tell you one thing about that book. I was confused. I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't like the writing. I didn't like the story. I felt like there was 400 things happening at the same time, and 300 of those things were unnecessary. I don't even know what the goal of the story was. I was very heavily disappointed in that one, and it would take an awful lot for me to pick up another Catriona Ward. Next question is something new you want to read. Now, this one is interesting because part of me wants to say like more memoirs, more nonfiction, and I think that that's a valid answer for sure, because it's expanding the genres that I read. Well, another part of me has a handful of sci-fi on my shelf that I've never read. I don't know that I've ever read a authentic sci-fi, and I think that's something that I would like to try and read this year. I bought Moonbound solely for this beautiful cover, and I've easily owned this for a year now. So it's time to read a sci-fi. What's another one? The Mountain in the Sea by Ray Naylor. I believe this is considered a sci-fi. Again, beautiful cover. So hopefully these are books and things I can get into this year. Because I know those aren't the only 2 on my shelf. Those are just the first 2 that come to mind. And sci-fi is one of those genres that like I feel like I would really like, but for some reason I don't pick them up. So we gotta change that. If you have like beginner-friendly sci-fi, you should leave it in the comments. Tell me where to start. I need help. All right, next question would be a popular book that you want to read. This is easy. When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker is definitely on that list. She's chunky. She's a little big. So I need to get over my fear of big books. Somebody, I don't remember whose video I was watching the other day, but they said that they read it on their Kindle and it made it feel like it wasn't so long because you're just holding your Kindle. You're not holding that big chunky book. So I might go about it that way. I also need to finish Two Twisted Crowns. I read One Dark Window in like October, and for some reason I've read like the first 5 pages of Two Twisted Crowns probably 5 times, and for some reason I keep putting it down. So we got to get to that. And Babel is another one. I'm probably one of the few people who have still not read Babel, but it's time that I read it. This is also one that feels like it's kind of chunky, and I think that's why I'm like, something about big books. It's just a little intimidating. But I feel like this is one I would really, really enjoy. The entire, like, what I know of the book sounds like something I would really enjoy. So why I haven't picked it up, don't know. I think it's truly just because she's chunky. It's a little big. Okay, next question is your most anticipated releases. We could probably make a whole video on that. I got 2 written down. We're gonna stick to those 2 because I think those are the main ones. Number 1, Taylor Jenkins Reid is giving us another book. We are getting Atmosphere. So excited. Pre-ordered immediately. And on the same token, Emily Henry. Do I need to say more? I don't think I do. Next question is your bookish goals for the year. And I think you're looking at it. I said in the beginning of the video, I have tried to make videos on numerous occasions. I did make TikTok videos. We did get somewhere. But I have wanted to make a YouTube video for a long time, or a YouTube channel for a long time. I have recorded videos in the past, and then I don't do anything. And we're going to change that. We are going to do it, which is why hopefully you are seeing my face. I mean, I think that for the same reason a lot of people start a channel, I want that sense of community. I want to talk to you about books. I want to have that friendship with people and talk about books. So yeah, I think that the biggest goal is maybe not quite as book related as it is video related, but I want to be able to talk about books. I want to make videos. I want to share what I'm liking with you guys. I want to hear what you're liking. I'm watching videos like crazy, so why wouldn't I be a part of the community and make friends and have fun? And the next question is a TBR book that you probably won't read. There is probably a few. There are probably a few. A couple that come to mind: From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly. That one's way up there. I bought that when everybody was talking about it, and it just, the more I heard about it, the more it doesn't sound like it's for me. So I think it's time to part with that one and probably just let it go. I don't think that I'm going to enjoy it. I've heard some people say that the rest of the series isn't great. And just overall, it doesn't sound like a book that I would typically enjoy, maybe. I don't know. So that's one of them. Another one that I don't think I'm going to read is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This one I would say is a little more chance of me maybe reconsidering. I tried to read the audiobook for this on more than one occasion, and me and the narrators were just not vibing. So if I tried that one on maybe my Kindle or physically, there could still be a chance. But again, I don't really think that, I think there's a lot of other books that I have a lot higher interest in reading than that one. The next question is series that you would like to finish. Two Twisted Crowns. We just talked about that. That one I would like to get to. And I have been putting off reading A Darker Shade of Magic for way too long. One of my favorite series, or duology, I guess, is The Savage Song and Our Dark Duet. I also absolutely loved The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I believe that these would be absolutely incredible. And why I've been putting them off, I don't know, but it is time that I read them. And I'm also so happy that I have these covers. Like, okay. So that is definitely on the list. Am I going to get to it in 2025? Let's cross our fingers. Okay? Okay. Why won't that go back in there? The next question is auto by authors. If I hadn't already made it clear by my excitement for Taylor Jenkins Reid and Emily Henry, they are on this list. Auto by authors, Taylor Jenkins Reid, anything you write, I am reading. Period. Emily Henry, the same goes for you, which says a lot because romance is probably one of my least read genres, if I'm being entirely honest. Outside of them two, Paul Tremblay. I have read 2 Paul Tremblays. Horror Movie, which I read recently, and then The Pallbearers Club. Now, I think this one was a little all over the place. Either you loved or hated it, and I believe the same will be said about Horror Movie. I absolutely loved both of these. This lives in my head rent-free all the time. I also need to do a reread of this. This could have been in that question. I own a couple other books by him, but I haven't read them. Anything he writes, I need to own it, and I need to read it. And I'm hoping that I get to some of his other ones this year. I gotta read the backlog now. I've read the recents, but not the backlog. Okay, and anyone else on that list? Alexis Henderson. Alexis Henderson, if you write it, I'm reading it. Again, I will patiently await The Year of the Witching Book 2, even if it's decades from right now. I will be waiting. I think these are where I kind of took out a little bit of the questions. The next one was a book to show adaptation. And truthfully, I really don't watch enough TV to even know which ones are being adapted. So I kind of skipped that one. Then the next one was a bookish thing you want to leave in 2024. And initially I was going to skip that one because I was like, well, there's nothing that comes to mind. But then I kind of thought about it, and I dog ear all of my poetry books. And we're going to let people dog ear books. We're not going to yell at them. That's what we're leaving in 2024. Let people do what they want. It's their book. Let them write it. Let them dog ear it. Break spines. Maybe not in front of me, but you do you. Let it be. Let it be. I'm going to dog ear my poetry books. Only my poetry books, for some reason. And nobody's going to yell at me for it. Okay? Okay. And the next one was anticipated sequel. Nothing really came to mind. I don't think I'm really in any series right now where I'm like really anticipating the next book. Nothing jumps out at me. I know that I read Dirty Diana for the Book of the Month pick. I cannot think who the author is right now, but I'll put the book over here. And I believe we're getting the second one in that series at some point this year, which I am excited to read, but again, that's not one that I'm like running to Barnes & Noble or anything for. The next question is what to expect from this account. And this is, I don't want to say a hard one, but I'm new and I'm going to do the absolute best that I can, and I hope that everybody is welcoming and kind. And I want to talk about books. I mean, that's what like all of us are here for. Like, that sounds so cliche. But no, I mean, like, I want the community of it. I want to hear what you're loving. I want to hear when you like the video I make. I want to hear what could be better, what you want to see from me, what books, based on the books that I tell you about, what books do you think I would enjoy? And that sense of having people to talk about books with is so heartwarming. Like, it makes me happy. This is all I do. This is all I do. Truthfully, I have no friends. I mean, I do, but you know what I mean. And the next question is, has my reading evolved? And I want to say like yes and no. I think that I have definitely became more comfortable with DNFing a book. That I think I've accomplished. Now, have I really expanded on the types of books I'm reading or things of that nature? That I don't know. And I definitely think that I want my reading to evolve, but I don't know if we're quite there yet. But if I'm making videos, then I'll be able to have maybe a better answer to that question in 2026. So we can kind of look back and see how much changes and how much am I reading new genres? Am I reading outside of my comfort zone, or how has it changed? And the next question is creators that inspire you. So obviously I am doing the Larryreads beginning of the year questions, so it would be unwell of me to not name Larry again. Olive at Olive's Book Nook, she recently had her 1-year booktube anniversary, and I think that's definitely a big reason why I'm even making this video right now. So we're definitely going to give her a shout out. And Books and Lala, Kayla, I've been watching her for absolutely eternity, it feels like. So she's definitely on that list. There are so many people that I could name and that I could talk about, and I could actually probably be here forever. I feel like I've been watching BookTube for probably almost 10 years. Maybe 8, maybe. So, I mean, there are so many people that I've watched all their videos, and so many amazing creators on here, and so many amazing people, so many amazing video concepts, and it really is so nice to see what the book community has done with sharing our love of books, and it's amazing. And the last question on the list is, what would you tell the newbies? That's me. I think that if we can do this, if I'm doing this, we can do this, and I'm going to do this. You're going to see my face, and we're going to get over the fear of making a video and talking alone in the room by ourselves with our books, and we're going to do this. We can do this. And if one person watches this video and says, oh my goodness, I should go read that book, I'm happy. If you read a book that I talk about and you're like, wow, I loved it, I'm happy. If you read a book that I read and you're like, wow, I hated that book, why did she tell me to read it? I'm still happy. I'm sorry that you read a book you didn't like, but like, I'm still happy. And tell me, like, what didn't you like about it? I'm interested. I just want to share the books I love, and I want to hear the books that you love, and it's so cliche, and that's okay. Why am I rhyming? I don't know, but that's it for this video, and I would love if you would like and subscribe, and I will see you hopefully very soon in another video. So, bye.